So I just slept for 12 hours. And it's really hard to wake up. So I thought I'd come outside, get some fucking air. Oh my God. I don't know what machine's running out that way, but you know, you get that in a mining town, I suppose. Oh man. These days are hard days. This is the part of the labour that I have to do myself, whereas down the track I can pay people to do shit. Get tradesmen and workmen to do all the big stuff. And if I could hire help right now, I certainly would, but they're all things that I have to do. I have to sort out my own shit. I have to sort out my own belongings and my own life and my own spaces, and that means that only I can do that. So what's the backstory? Why is shit so fucked up? Well, so I used to fly back and forward every few months. Once I met a savings target or once I met a goal, I would fly home and celebrate, come off the wagon for a week, tidy up for a week, and then fly out again. And so the property used to be somewhat maintained after my initial cleanup, which was worse than this. The initial cleanup was fucking pretty Satan-like. Although I think it's actually a little bit harder this time because I've got all this fucking junk in there now. There was junk when I first moved in. What am I talking about? It's always been a junk hole. Can't wait to get rid of more junk. Just clean everything out. Strip it down to the minimum of what's necessary to exist. Oh, there goes more machines. I wonder what they're doing. Are they grading driveways? I hope they're fucking gonna grade my driveway. Doesn't sound like a grader. It's coming closer. They haven't backfilled my fucking water meter yet. Slack motherfucking cunts. They dug it up, put a new tap in, and then didn't backfill the hole. Fucking jerks. District Council of Coober Pedy. Bunch of fucking geniuses. It's not a noise you really want to wake up to, is it? Unless they're coming to grade my driveway, I don't want to fucking hear it. Anyway, why is shit so fucked up? Well, yeah, I used to maintain the property so that dust wouldn't build up and things would get fixed that wasn't working, and there'd always be a repair or two. Clear out any rockfalls and stuff like that, but because the pandemic fucking stopped travel, it meant that I had to stop traveling, so I couldn't fly back to maintain it. And in the 2.5 years since then, we've had a number of natural disasters occur. We had like at least 3 dust storms, a full year of wind, and the biggest flood that we've ever seen happened south of the town here and cut off the roads and the army had to deliver food drops into the town and supplies and shit in these helicopters, and we got big rains here as well. And I don't know if you can see behind me there all the erosion that's happened. Probably not. Anyway, there's been a heap of erosion on the face of the cut of the dugout, which has meant that a whole heap of stuff got washed down, and there's some huge rock falls that have happened in front of my windows. So both my windows are blocked out by rock falls. Thankfully, I had the foresight before I left to put... So I put a couple of mattresses and things over the windows in case of any rock falls to protect the windows. So that's the only reason that my windows haven't been smashed in, because I got basically mattresses covering the windows and then rock falls covering the mattresses, which is covering the windows. So I'm not getting any light into the dugout at the moment, which makes it a pretty dark and gloomy space, but I'm also a dark and gloomy person, so it kind of works. But yeah, we've had a lot of rain and a lot of dust, and as a result of all the rock falls and the dirt that's built up in front of the windows, when it did rain subsequent to that, all that dirt and stuff got washed in to the dugout, into the house. But I've, been prepared for those events by setting everything up on, everything's raised up on bricks and stuff inside, and the furniture is only furniture in the flood zones, where if water does come through, like you saw with the hosing, it's not a problem because everything's raised up, or it's on a ledge, or it's just metal things, so nothing can get too damaged. It's all set up to allow for that, thank goodness. Otherwise I'd really be crying. And I've got windrows around the front entry so that doesn't flood, and I've had a whole heap of water has pushed dirt down into the entry here, so that's built up. So basically I've got to get a machine out here in the next couple of weeks just to clear out all the rock falls, open up my windows, clear out my entryway, dig out my carport. I've got a garage behind me over here. See that tunnel behind me? I don't know if I'm pointing the camera in the right direction. Yeah, there you go. That tunnel behind me is it's like a big garage. So I need to get all this stuff cleaned up and sorted out before the next big rains come. I mean, they don't happen very frequently, but when they do, they're pretty devastating. That's why it's such a big clean-up job to come out this time, because the combination of dust storms and floods has just meant that everything I'd already previously cleaned and maintained and sorted out is now covered in clay, and it's basically like the initial cleanup all over again, except with extra added things to deal with and clean off. And so it is such a big fucking task, and that's why I'm trying to just do it one room at a time, and started with the kitchen because I need to be able to make food to live. The bathroom's feral. The main living room is just covered in dust. But the kitchen's starting to get clean, so that's just one thing, All my tools are covered in dirt because I didn't have a toolbox to put them in, so they're all just... I'm going to need to service all of my tools, clean them all out. That's going to be a big day. All the power tools and shit. I don't know what's rusted out, because the salty dust is going to corrode all the circuits. And yeah, there's a lot going on. So I expect it's going to take me the rest of the year to do this cleanup. And I'd like to have the machine out to dig out the dirt in the next couple of weeks, because if I get one more rockfall, I might break my window. But yeah, I've had a number of things just getting in the way this week, like the car breaking down fucking twice. And why are you bugging me? There's always one fly, just one. And it's enough to make you fucking wish you stayed inside. But yeah, that's why everything's so messy. That's why everything's so dirty. That's why everything's so filthy. Dust storms, floods, and not being here and not being able to fly back and forward for 2.5 years. So I knew I was going to be in for a massive cleanup. I just knew, as my mate's been looking after it, you know, they'll come in and check on it and stuff like that for me, give me updates and reports. So they had already told me. I already had the heads up on what I was going to be in for when I came back, and so that's why I've sort of been putting it off for the last few months, coming home, because I knew this was it's going to be a massive task. So I thought, well, if I can't travel back and forward and work on the property for those couple of years, I used that time when Corona shut down. I had to pivot into a different field of work because it shut all my business down and everything. So that took a little while, and then once I got established in that, I got myself 3 jobs, and decided I was going to pay off my home loan in a year, which meant that I was just working 6-7 days a week, paying off my house. So as much as it's a dirt shithole and it's all fucked up and it's all messy and it's all dilapidated and eroded and deteriorated like my fucking soul, at least I own it outright now, so I don't have to worry about mortgage or rent for the rest of my life, which is fucking awesome. Debt-free, mortgage-free, live in a hole. So that's where we're at. But, yeah, it's a big cleanup. It's a huge mission just to make things functional. And it's just really demoralising when you've already put all this work in the past to clean things up, and now you got to do it all over again. But the silver lining is I did spend that time just focused on one thing and paying off the house. So that was my 40th birthday present to myself, was I bought myself a house and I straightened my teeth. So they're 2 big life goals that I achieved, and and I got myself a job where I can remotely work, and that means I can work from here, which I've always wanted to do for the last 10 years, but because the mine site nearby kept shutting down, opening up, shutting down, because I worked in the mining industry, I was going to work locally here on the mines, but I'm so glad I don't have to do mining anymore, because I don't have the energy for that shit anymore, 12-hour days in the dust. If I'm going to do any 12-hour days in the dust, it's going to be inside my hole, and then I can take the next 3 days off, like what I've been doing. So I am not prepared to go back to that sort of work at this stage of my life. I just don't have the physical, I don't have the level of endurance that I used to have. I don't have the willpower to push through those big fucking lumps of shit anymore. Just getting old, fucking just want things to be a little bit easier moving forward in this part of my life. So once I get things cleaned up initially inside, then I can start paying people to come out with machines and paying people to build sections. I'll still do some DIY stuff, but not like I would have done 10 years ago. I've already done a lot of DIY in there. I've knocked out all of the walls that are existing. I've deconstructed the kitchen. I've deconstructed the bathroom. I've deconstructed a lot of things. I've taken a lot of things apart and dismantled a lot of things and taken out a heap of junk but as far as the reconstructing goes, I don't think I'll be a huge active participant in those things. Just going to pay people to do it, which frees me up to just do my job, do the work that doesn't require too much physical energy because my body just doesn't cope with it anymore. Too many physical ailments. And it's just painful enough just trying to get out of bed every day. It's so hard, and I need to focus on my health and well-being, and that'll be my target for next year. I'd like to sober up and get off the smokes and clean my lifestyle up a little bit. But there's no fucking way I'll be doing that with the house in the state that it's in. The only thing that's getting me through at this point is drinking and smoking and vlogging, evidently. I think that it's just helped to be able to self-reflect. Even just the creative process of making them it's been therapeutic for me in some way, so just gonna keep plugging away at that until such time that I find my traction. But I'm definitely struggling physically struggling. Haven't been in this climate for a while. It's so fucking dry, and it feels like no matter how much water I drink, I can't seem to get hydrated, so I have to get some salts and things, and just my body has to adapt. It just takes time. I know this from experience. It'd be great once I could establish a routine, so try and get into a bit of a flow with it all. Right now everything's just slapdash, haphazard, fucking chaos. But the weather is just perfect. Oh, this is so nice. Just not to be freezing my fucking ass off in Tasmania anymore. Oh, it's so good to be off that fucking planet. What a nightmare that shit was. The endless winter. Now I've stepped into the endless drought. So I'm going to go soak in the bath for 2 hours and have Epsom salts muscle soak, I think, and try to resuscitate my corpse for the next big task ahead of me. And get away from this noisy machine. Good thing I've got a cave to hide from the world.